Hey, hey, how is everyone?
Quite well. How you doing, Mike? How is everybody?
Well, Bob.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, hey. So, let me just see here. Let me pull up everything. And you guys are on it as usual. Bob, I think we were actually going to run with you first, right?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, let's do
Great.
it, man. Can you post a link in the chat here? Sweet. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. Can everyone see that?
Yep.
Sweet. All right, Bob. Let's party, dude.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
So walk me through this. Is this what does the prospect sort of see before this? What do they see after?
Okay, the prospects so far have been on a house list, so it's pretty warm traffic. So basically, they're seeing an email announcement to the list saying that, hey, we've launched the world's first crypto stock newsletter. Check it out.
Sorry, one sec, guys. I'm gonna mute everyone who's not chatting because I'm getting a little bit of feedback. All right, sorry about that. So warm list.
Warm list. They get an email saying like, hey, check out. The guru is somewhat well known to the list, or somewhat known to the list. Maybe not well known, but known. We're launching. We are the world's first, and so far the only crypto stock newsletter. So we sent this out. This page is converting pretty well, and I don't even want to tell you the numbers because really I just want to get your, just totally unabashed, unexpurgated feedback.
Okay, sweet. I mean, I'm happy to do so, but keep in mind, my feedback is great, but numbers are better. So I could say something and it would actually help if you gave me a little bit of.
This page is converting about 35% to our house list. Now that's everybody who sees this particular, sees this particular page, not everybody on the list. But it's, converting pretty well.
Great. Well, I mean, the first question I have is just like, is there a reason why you guys are focusing on Bitcoin here and not sort of some of the other sort of more well-known coins like Ethereum, like Dogecoin, something that actually really is, because I feel like the conversation has moved away from Bitcoin, right? And has moved toward altcoins.
Well, yeah, this weekend, Ethereum kind of took the lead. There is an alternate headline that you're not seeing. We run a split test where we also mention Bitcoin in the headline. After without you having to buy a single Bitcoin, Ethereum, or other sort of cryptocurrency. So we do add a couple of the others in headline B.
Gotcha. Great. Well, I mean, so the two things that sort of stick out for me here is one, I wonder if this is actually too much of a delayed benefit, simply because, the narrative right now is that you can make 865% in 2 hours, right? I mean, that's what everyone's under the illusion of when it comes to cryptos, right? You hear about these overnight millionaires and so on and so forth. So I wonder if this is actually a huge turnoff to someone who wants to get into trading cryptos, because this is a very long time, right, to wait. Maybe. So is it possible?
That maybe. Actually, it really, I mean, we have to be compliant. I can't lie.
No, of course. No, of course.
And 865%, you know, I mean, in 78 trading days, that's a pretty good return. But so what do you suggest? So how would I modify that? Just write off, you know.
Well, I don't know what the track record is of this newsletter, right? I guess what I'm trying to say is,
Mhm.
you know, I don't know what the graph looks like, right? How it sort of hockey sticks, but an almost like better claim would be up 200% in 12 hours. I don't know if that's true or not. So look into the data, the track record, see
Right.
what's possible.
Yeah.
But this is the equivalent of saying like be pain free in 3 months. I want pain relief now. I don't want any of this. So that's something to consider.
Mhm.
And then the other thing to sort of consider is in the headline, I would love some sort of occasion. Um, is there a reason why, if you miss out on Bitcoin, there's actually more up for grabs? Like, is there something like, thanks to whatever? I'm trying to think of an example. There has to be some sort of impetus that explains why there's a new wave coming, because a lot of people are FOMOing into the market right now. So if you had something, some sort of an occasion, some reason why this is all possible now,
Mhm.
that would be really helpful, especially as a pre-head, right? Missed out on Bitcoin. Well, thanks to X, Y, and Z, there's now a new wave of crypto millionaires being minted by the second. Here's how you can get in on the new crypto bull market or whatever, right? That's terrible copy. That's just sort of
Right. I
off the
get, no,
top.
yeah, no, I get the idea. Sure. Yeah, that's a good point.
That could be something super helpful.
Mhm.
And then I wonder if, you mentioned they know who Mark is.
Mhm.
If they're super familiar with him, then great. I'm glad we have this here. But I actually wonder is there a better photo we could use?
There's not. That's the best.
Sure, of not him, I'm saying, because we already know you sort of introduce yourself. You have his name here
Right.
twice.
Mhm.
So I wonder if there's maybe a graph we could use, photos of the actual stock newsletter,
Mhm. Mhm.
something that's a little bit more enticing, because you already introduced him here. I don't really see a reason to have it twice.
Got it. Mhm.
So those are the first two things that I would sort of play around, or three things rather, right?
Mhm.
Sort of open it up to just more than Bitcoin, which is what you have in headline B. Give me a reason why there's this second or third wave, whatever you guys choose to call it.
Mhm.
And then I play around with some quicker stock gains.
Mhm.
Because I agree, 865 is like bonkers, right? Like even over like even over like a 20-year period,
Right.
that's like insane. But the thing is, I think the narrative right now is that crypto is so nuts, you could make this in a day.
You could, yes, that's possible.
So if you do have something in the track record that is a little bit quicker, I would run with that.
Mhm.
Other than that, I mean, that's what I would sort of play around with and see what happens.
Those are good points. I will.
Sweet. Let me go ahead and just skim through this just a little bit.
And hey, everybody else on the call, it'd be great. You guys wanted to chime in and give me some feedback. I would totally appreciate that. It'd be really helpful. Thanks.
Yeah, if anyone wants to chime in, feel free to unmute yourselves. Yeah, so reading through this, the thing that's sort of sticking out to me as missing again is just I'm about 3 or 4 pages in, and there's nothing about why Mark's mechanism is new or differentiated. So I worry that it's either not here, and you have it here, right? But I need something above here that says like, here's why I'm different, XYZ.
Well, actually, you missed it. That's a good point. So scroll down a little bit. So right there, now in a moment, I'm going to show you exactly how to make money from crypto without investing in actual crypto, where you can use real cash to buy crypto stocks. So obviously that doesn't shout out. That's not, you missed that just on a quick scan.
Yeah, and
Go.
it's possible that something just needs to be added to this, right? That sort of, now in a moment, I'm going to show you exactly how to make money from crypto without investing in actual crypto. This is something that 99% of investors completely miss, because you can use real cash to do all of this. And here's why it's reliable: chart, track record. Because this is a big claim, and I'm going to need you to back it up sort of right away.
Got it. Yeah, that's a good, right up front.
And you have charts up here, and this is great. This is sort of like, hey, you FOMO'd your entire life, right?
Right.
Don't miss out on this too. And then you're like, don't miss out on this too, because I have this great system and I'm going to prove it to you. Chart. If you look at any sort of Agora promo, traditional Agora promo, they're all just basically a bunch of charts strung together. So that's what I would sort of change here and make this really stand out, and something that's really differentiated, because I don't know if this is differentiated enough. This is a claim that I've sort of heard, and it's possible that I'm a little bit more sophisticated than the current market that you guys are running with, because I myself have dabbled.
Yeah, James Altucher had a whole backdoor crypto thing a couple of years ago. So this idea of how to buy crypto without actually buying crypto is actually it's not the first and it's not the only. So if you're relying on that to stand up this mechanism, at least some of your market's going to say that's not true, and you may need to provide additional context about why it is in fact new, unique, different, not the same thing they've heard before.
Okay.
Yeah, sweet. Appreciate you chiming in, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
So hopefully that gives you enough to sort of chew on until next week here.
That's great. Thanks. Yeah.
Sweet. All right. All right, Bob, are there any other sort of questions here?
No, that's very helpful. Thanks.
Awesome. Great. Keep us updated.
I will.
All right, Brian.
What's up?
How are you, man? I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, taking a couple weeks off to just wrap up some things. But so this is we'll call it a rough take on a mechanism. Most of the stuff that I have here is good, or at least is like roughly polished. There's just at least one section where it's kind of got a big gap that I know I need to fill in. So, but I thought it was in a good enough place to get an initial take on this mechanism for the sleep thing I'm doing.
Great. So do you want me to read through the whole thing, or do you want to go straight to that?
Yeah, read through the whole thing. And again, I know that thing is missing, so you're just going to see that there's like a little placeholder. So I'm really looking for feedback on everything else outside that one missing section, which I know I need to work on.
Great. You might have to create this connection for me that the way the brain makes circuits is through waves. There's a step missing here.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yep.
Your brain requires to keep your mind running or to keep slip waves, which reflects a deep relaxing. A stronger word might be that are required to enter deep sleep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great. Responsible. We're creating a slow sending the research right now reveals change.
So the audience is women specifically menopause and perimenopause.
Huh. Well, it almost seems like there are two problems here. Changes to your brain chemistry as you age. So I wonder, can we put these together somehow? Does the research bore that out? Because it's almost like age and menopause.
Yeah. So you may talk me out of this, but our thought was we want to cast a somewhat wide net to sort of all women, or we want to make it easy to version out and like just replace the word women with people to be able to try to tap this into sort of the whole market. But then it's going to launch initially to their house list, which is mostly like menopause, perimenopause. So we're trying to like give a nod to that internal audience while not restricting ourselves from scaling out to a much broader audience if it does well.
Great. I mean, so that's sort of a phase 2 consideration, right? I think if you're just trying to get a win on the back end right now, I think this is fine. I mean, an alternative way is just, changes to your brain chemistry as you age, and then dash, especially if you're approaching menopause or perimenopause. I'd flip these, right? Because perimenopause first, especially if you're approaching perimenopause or menopause, causes these two key circuits, I cannot speak, to short out. And then completely blocking you, I might get a little bit more granular, just making it impossible for you to enter deep sleep. But then these do sure that it causes a blast of small frantic brainwaves. So while you're awake. So what you could do here is actually illustrate this with graphs.
Yeah, yep, that's the design consideration, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I did in the Sears promo too, right? If you'll remember. That's a really easy way of just sort of like arrows and be like, here's what it looks like for normal people, and here's what it looks like for you.
Yeah.
Do you see the difference?
Yep.
This is why I call this problem sleep static, since it's flat. Middle of the night. I'd probably make this about them. I know you have it here, but it's just so much more powerful. Just be like, and if you're anything like most women, you wake up at odd times in the middle of the night and you can't fall asleep afterward. Yeah, this is great, man. I think if you connect some of these pieces and then you get really clear on what the two circuits are and how they work in tandem.
Yep.
They either work, either in step or in concert with each other. I think this is great, man. The only thing I'll sort of give you something to chew on is I wonder if we actually want to move these up.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm gonna have stuff like that in the lead too. Like it works even if you've tried yoga. Even it's like this is gonna be a sort of chorus of that idea that I'm gonna definitely tie into that throughout the promo. So I think that so again, noted for now. As I write the rest of it, I'll figure out the appropriate places to drop that stuff in. But yes, noted. And I know that stuff is super important since, especially in sleep, people have tried like everything. So cool. All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Good work.
Hey, Mike.
What's up, man?
Hey, these are a little bit riskier copy that I just wrote. So a little bit background is for a law of attraction product, and the lead of the story, or the story lead, is basically the spokesperson Angela. Her ex-husband came to her house for a Christmas dinner and brought a new wife, basically, and a new wife, and a lot of focus was on the boob. So I just put that in a copy.
Gotcha. Okay. And how does I guess I'll read it in here, but what's the connection? It's just like she was so distraught by this new partner of
No,
his that she went on a quest?
yeah, so she was so frustrated by herself or her situation because she tried to manifest like a better life after divorce, but it didn't happen. And she saw that her ex-husband got like a very hot new wife, and it just, at least in the sales letter, it says it drove her to like kind of like the rock bottom moment and flew to Nepal and found that bioenergy switch.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, I mean, so you said a couple of things that are really interesting, right? I wonder if there's an alternate of this that has to do with this Nepalese secret that only the people in Nepal understand, and now she's bringing it to the Western world, right? There's an option. The one thing I'll say is, before I read any of this, I'm worried that this will get caught up in the spam filter because you have boobs 4 or 5 times, and I don't know, right? I'm just assuming that this might get caught right away as a non-safe for work type.
That is true.
And I don't think that's what you guys are sort of going for with this market regardless. So it's possible that you can still use all of this, but you just change this term to new wife or my ex-husband's new partner.
Yeah.
Or whatever it
the
is. That might help. Go ahead.
No, that actually worked. So there's control email that I'm trying to to get better at, and yeah, basically Scott Mills, I just like I kind of like asked me to if I could write something trying to beat it, and along with a few other people. So the angle that you just mentioned, the ex-husband brought her new wife, that was the control. So it definitely works.
Gotcha. So I mean, if that's the case, why not test something that's a little bit wider instead of deeper, right? You're getting more specific with the control,
Yeah.
which is a good way to do it. But the 2 questions I ask myself whenever I look at a control is like, one, what detail did the writer who wrote this bury? Like, what's not getting the treatment it deserves? And then 2, what's the story not being told? So it's possible that to beat this control, we don't go deeper with a more specific term that could potentially get us into hot water, spam wise. And I see Peter said you can swipe in other terms for boobs. But I wonder if it's actually stronger just to find something that's so different altogether, right? And that's where the Nepalese, the people in Nepal type angles go. And if you want, if you have this sales letter, I'm happy to sort of go through it for a couple minutes certainly. And just sort of look at, like, here's what I would do.
Yeah. Let me just grab the text version, and it is in it's in the chat.
Great. Okay, so the first thing I would write is just something centered around this switch, which is what you have here. But I would really go into it of just like, and if you can tie recent studies to it, like an explosive new document from scientists so-and-so say that, like, this is actually what's happening when it comes to you blocking your abundance or whatever, right? Yeah. I tried it and look at me, now you can't do, click here. There's one.
I actually tried that angle in the second email, but that's just a very
great. Sorry, I didn't even see. I didn't see the second one. Sorry, let me read this one.
Yeah, Krista, that's a great point, because I do feel part of the list is a woman, so probably that would turn them off.
Yeah, this is great. The one thing I will do is, like, this sounds to me like therapy, which is fine. But I
okay.
wonder if it's not sort of new enough. So I would basically keep this blind.
Kind of like that's because of
Like you may have tried all this stuff, none of it works. Because according to study so and so, none
there
of
was a
these,
Dutch researcher, something like that.
great, none of these attack the true root cause of stored energy in your body. And unless you release this energy, it'll always block you.
It's actually, maybe I can say like it's actually something completely different that's blocking you from life of abundance. But luckily, blah blah blah, kind of.
Yeah, no, I mean that's great. I just worry this is one of those times where we're giving away a little bit too much. And there's more mystery around keeping this a secret. Because when I read this generational traumatic energy, I go, oh great, another shrink.
Yeah.
Trying to tell me that my parents fucked me up.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is.
Which is fine. There's no, I'm not
Yeah.
saying that's a bad thing. I just wonder if, you know, part of the secret, quote unquote, of copy is like knowing when to reveal what detail and when to keep it, when to omit details as a way of structuring an argument. That's really how stories are told. And that's how lawyers structure arguments, by the way, by the omission of facts, not by the addition. So I almost wonder if this is a stronger email if you were to remove this term altogether.
Yeah. Okay. That's a very, very good point. And like what you mentioned, it's like, what's the story not told? I really like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's just sort of the way I sort of look at this stuff, you know, like I literally just read through this with a pen and paper and I'm like, ooh, cool. Like, here's something I can write about. Here's something I can write about. And then after a while, you sort of look at all this and you go, great, I have, you know, 7 different ideas. Which do I think have the most, do I have the most confidence in?
Yeah.
And then you sort of go from there because, you know, the hallmark of a good promo in general is going to be, you know, a lot of quote unquote entry points that you can write affiliate emails from. So anyway, that's sort of what I would play around with.
Yeah, that's very, very helpful. And I think with the first one, I'm going to like play with definitely probably scratch the boobs angle, because I do feel one is like what Krista said, part of the list is women, so don't want to run that risk, and probably just gonna run with Nepal like angle, because that's a pretty intriguing angle, and the original email didn't mention that.
Yeah, so that's what I would run. I mean, the thing I'll say, just sort of wrap things up, is, you know, you can still focus on this. I think, you know, what she call her, a bimbo.
Yeah, like the
something I read somewhere. So there's something you can do here where it's still like, you know, my ex-partner's new fling, you know, walked into the room, chest out, and I nearly spat the wine out of my mouth. But like an offhand remark from her led me to fly halfway across the world and discover this cool thing. So there's still ways to use this. I just don't know if I would focus on that in general.
Yeah, that I feel that's tricky. I'll probably go with the Nepal angle.
Yeah, I would too, man.
Yeah.
And then for the photo, you can have like some like, you know, super not indigenous. What's the word I'm looking for? Just like yeah, like in the mountains. So it seems like, you know, she learned it from this dude.
Yeah. Okay.
So tons of stuff you can play around with.
Cool. All right. Thanks so much, Mike. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, Ariba, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. So just to give you some context on this page, this is for a pool building company. They have a lead gen page that I'm working on. I have linked it at the top. So these emails will be going out to all the leads that who request a free code. And since code is given to them in person, so we just want to, you know, build ourselves as the authority before we go and meet them.
Great. So what do they see before this?
This page, I have linked it down.
Great. So they land here. They go, yep, great. Let me put my email in here, and then they get the free quote. Great. Your custom quote. First name. Is the call about this, or is it about them getting their quote?
So they're going to give them a quote once they meet them for inspection of their backyard.
Got it. So I probably then would say like, and you'll soon be receiving a call from our company to get that quote and set a suitable time for inspection. See, it's possible to inspect the yard before giving you a quote. Yeah, these are great. I would consider putting these in as a PS as well, right here. I'd really like a little bit of some explanation here, like what entails needs, right? In terms of, you know, I'm going to speak super ignorantly, right? So form this into whatever, right? But like, which is why the first step in our inspection process is talking to you and analyzing your needs. For example, how much yard space do you have? How long of a project are you willing to take on? Blah, blah, blah. Like, just give me some flavor of what this inspection process looks like before you get into here. Does that make sense?
Yeah, with that, it's a very good point.
Great. So at this point, they've already talked to someone on the phone?
Yes, most probably, yeah. They'll call them within 24 hours.
Oh, great. So I might even like, you know, depending on how you parse these out in terms of timing, I might even have like a reply email just for deliverability that's like, hey, we just want to make sure, like, did you get a call? How'd it go? Question mark. Email 2, email 3. And then same thing here. Just give me a little bit of flavor of like the steps in between here. Great.
Like, just one question. So by steps in between, do you mean like what happens during the inspection and what the condition would look like?
Yeah, basically just walk me through, like future pace me a little bit with some copy about how easy the process is. Right. And you talk, because you say like, we don't have to worry about any of this bad stuff, but I'd love something that basically says like, man, I don't know this market too well, but let me sort of brainstorm some stuff. You'd basically say something like, you know, our expert, whatever, contractors come in and measure everything, making sure you don't have to lift a finger. When they leave that day, like everything will be clean. Do you know what I mean? Just like basically walk me through how easy it is, because the thing that I've sort of heard about from family members and friends who have gotten work done from contractors is, one, they always take double the time that they quote you for, right? It's
Yeah.
loud as shit, it's messy as shit, and it never comes out the way you want to, right? And you have these hidden costs here, but I'd literally just reiterate it again, like what you see is what you pay no matter what.
Makes sense.
Right, the scope of project continues to change as the contractor continues to work and work and work. That's very frustrating for customers.
All right. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, of course, because, and the last thing I'll say is, because the thing that's sort of missing from all this is you don't really tell me how you guys are different from other from other contractors, right? There's no real mechanism or differentiation other than, hey, we actually do what we promise you and you won't get charged anything extra. So I almost need something in between here that's like, here's why we're different. And perhaps that's accomplished by a fifth email that just literally has a Q&A of, here's how we work, here's why we're different, and here's what you can expect.
Yeah, makes sense.
So other than that, I mean, great work. These are awesome.
Thank you.
Hey Mike, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
Fine. Okay, so we talked about this homepage last time. If you kindly open the other link as well, bamf.co in the same comment. So I was supposed to write something closer to this. I sort of, templated everything out of this, the headline, subheadline, and the about us section, something like that. So if you could kindly go back to the homepage that I've written, you can notice, yeah, please take a look.
Great.
So this is basically, can you see an outline there? I
No,
left that.
I don't have
Sorry.
edit access.
So just. Okay, could you kindly check this now? But it still doesn't show up. I would just like your opinion on headline, subheadline, and intro section.
Great. Rare and proven case generation opportunity for awfully smart PI. So this doesn't seem like a direct sort of benefit. And I wonder if there's something we can do. Like, what does proven case generation opportunity mean?
Well, that's something that I explained in subheadline, like it's proven. These were suggestions from Sabah Karimi. I discussed this page with her as well. And she said that, I told her that what we are offering to our market is something that no one other is offering, no one other is promising, and no one other is proving that either. So she said that it's something rare, and I used the word rare. So she said that you should use these words, rare and proven, in your headline, something like that. So I proved that in subheadline, like 10 guaranteed cases in only 4 months, or I mean, that's the idea. I could add the guarantee as well, like 10K to you or write a check to you, but that could make it extra long.
Great. I mean, I would almost swap these, like invert them, because I mean, this is infinitely more
Right.
interesting to me than this.
Okay. Right.
Because when I hear case generation opportunity for awfully smart attorneys, this sounds like an MLM pitch, right? It almost feels like, oh, there's a new opportunity, but I have to be smart. Do you know what I mean? It just sounds a little bit used car salesy. And that's why I asked.
What I actually tried, I'm sorry for interrupting you, was that NLP inclusion technique or something like that. Like, you tell people that if you think that you are a smart attorney, you would grab this opportunity in, in a jiffy, something like that. So, but I can understand your point of view on that, definitely. Yeah, it does sound like opportunity is sort of, making it ambiguous.
It's not almost, yeah, I just, and look, I don't want to speak badly about NLP or anything like that, but like, I don't know, some of the stuff in NLP like comes off as very try hard. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Like when someone like compliments you and then they wink every single time, you're like, dude, what are you doing? Like, this isn't right.
Yeah.
So I almost wonder if this is a huge turnoff, right? It's a turnoff for me at least, but that doesn't mean, I'm not the market. So it's possible that this really works. But I would basically invert these. And I know that's not what they have. Oh, whoops. That's not what they have here, but maybe you just literally copy this here, right? Rare and surprisingly effective case generation for attorneys.
Okay.
That's a much more concrete claim.
Right. Okay, and about subheadline, there was something that Sabha asked me to remove. It was something like get at least 10 guaranteed cases in only 4 months with cases on autopilot. A smart advertising system for attorneys. I'm sorry, a smart advertising system exclusively designed for attorneys and law firms. So she asked me to remove that part and just shorten the subheadline. What's your take on this?
I mean, I'm having a little bit of trouble sort of seeing what the old subheadline is. Do you have it? I'm just a very visual person. Is there any you could copy and paste it right next to this one?
Well, it said get at least 10 guaranteed cases in only 4 months with cases on autopilot, an advertising program exclusively designed for attorneys and law firms. So I tried to explain what cases on autopilot is because it's sort of ambiguous in current condition. They would definitely question what that is. So that is not being answered in this subhead line. Any way we can improve that, or what's your take on subhead line anyways?
I would actually leave that in because I agree with you. It's tough for me to know what this is without you saying, the only program, the only advertising, whatever, exclusively designed for attorneys and law firms. But it's possible again, I'm wrong. So, just run with what Saba said and then see what happens from there.
Right. And if you could scroll down kindly, you would see first crosshead. It's here. Imagine having a certain stone unprecedented and right to first offer kind of access to blah, blah, blah. I just want, they were, hell bent on powerful phrases and direct responsive language. So I tried to use that throughout this copy. And I just want your opinion on this.
I'd probably remove this. I don't think it really does anything. So explain to me what this is. Do they get a list of all the recently injured victims in their area?
Basically, our promise is that we would give them immediate access to freshly injured victims, not more than a year from the accident in their area, in their zip code. And how we do that? We do that via Facebook targeting and media buying, smart SEO and stuff like that. So the promise is basically before any other attorney get access to freshly injured leads in your area, you would be the one to get access and we'll see to it. So that's the promise that I
dude, that
tried
what
to.
you just said is like infinitely better than this. Right. So I think what we have here is great.
Yep.
I wonder if it's not really like set in stone. It's just more like, hey, imagine having unprecedented access to a full list of recently injured victims in your area before every other Joe Schmo.
Yeah. Right.
Right. I have a feeling you're trying to be too direct responsey, when in reality it's just like, here's what this is. Here's why it's cool. Don't you want it to click here now?
Okay, got it. And right underneath it is the introduction to the system, the program, and that definitely demands a lot of attention because that's where we explain. So Sarah asked me to, use some sort of framework like intro, then how the system will work, and then the guarantees, which makes a lot of sense, definitely. So what I did is that I, made into 3 sections. The first section is intro, second is process, which is very detailed, and third one is guarantee, and all of them are backed up with testimonials.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, then that's a really good way of putting it. Like, here's what this is, right? Here's how it works. And here's why I'm sure it'll work for you.
Yep.
I think that's great, man.
You kindly read the intro section, if I'm not asking for too much.
I don't know if I want to get swamped. Right.
Okay.
Accident attorneys who want guaranteed access to recently injured victims, all looking to find a claim. We've invested millions of dollars in collecting matchless behavioral data that allows us to bypass the competition and put your firm directly in front of. What is matchless behavioral data?
That's something that they brag a lot about. Like, they have spent millions on their Facebook account to get, to train Facebook AI, whatever you want to call that. I'm not a media buyer, so I don't know that much. But the thing is that they understand the market better than other agencies. That's what they claim. So I tried to, that's the exact word they use. Like, we have spent millions collecting behavioral data.
I wonder if this is something that we need to explain a little bit, because when I read this, I was like, huh? Like, I know what behavioral data is. I don't know what matchless means. So I wonder if there's something we either need to add here to explain this, or just remove this term altogether and say, we've invested millions of dollars into a proprietary technology that allows you to bypass the competition.
That sounds much better, because attorneys, they are not techies, definitely. And I mean,
yeah, I don't think anyone wants to know what matchless behavioral data is.
Okay. Okay. Process part is actually just bragging. If you could kindly go to guarantee part, because guarantee is very sensitive and important thing.
So
That right there. We give a guarantee that no one else dares to give in this market. That's the headline of the section, and then the text.
How much do they pay for this?
Sorry, pay for what?
For whatever this thing is?
For the marketing services, they are required to pay minimum $2,500 for maintenance fee. Like, you are going to be our clients, and we're going to charge you monthly. And then they are required to pay minimum $2,500 on top of that for ad spend.
So $5K.
$5,000, exactly.
Great. I mean, if you describe that in the how it works at all, I'd basically say, where's the section? Yeah, so I wouldn't have the guarantee until after the price.
It actually comes before price, so you would have it after the price.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of, like, here's how much it costs, and just to make it a no-brainer, if it doesn't work, it's free. Like, that's a much stronger proposition.
Right.
So I would flip those, and then I would make this guarantee, like, you have this guarantee, which is great. I would ask them if they have any sort of refund policy. And again, I don't know how that works with media buying and stuff like that. I'm sure you can't just be like, hey, Facebook, like, my ads didn't work, can I get my money back? But if this company can basically say, like, hey, this is super no risk, try us out.
Mm-hmm.
Or actually, hold on, let me see where the pricing is.
Actually, this shows the cost per lead. This doesn't show the pricing. This shows how cheaper are the leads that we can provide to them, which is not a strong point as per them. But Sabha and I agree that, I mean, in this market, I have Googled it. I don't know much, but cost per lead is $200 to $500, and these guys, they're doing 35 to 50, so which is a very strong point, definitely. And VOC shows that lawyers actually value cost per lead a lot. So they want a lower cost per leads, because cost per leads are insane in this niche.
Great. Okay. Yeah. Then in that case, never mind. Scratch what I said. Go with guarantee first, like the big boy guarantee, and then go straight into the cost per lead section.
Yeah,
That's
but I
perfect.
would show the price as you have suggested. I've shown the price in the process part, and the refund thing. Actually, I showed their LPs to you, and you gave that very valuable advice that we must tell them how they're going to get that refund. So the guarantee section, the last line is that you can claim it anytime. Just shoot us an email. I mean, I don't think I can do more than that on a homepage.
Yeah, that's
What do you
fine.
think?
I think what you have here is great. I would just run with it.
Right. So do you think I brought this any closer to that BAMF homepage? Because that's the, that's the
Yeah,
requirement.
I think you brought it a lot closer. I think this is much more clear, right? It's like, hey, and then after you put in all the changes we talked about, like here's all this stuff here's the direct claim benefit. Here's all the proof that we can do it. Here's a little bit of future pacing, introducing how it works. And it's so good that I'm willing to guarantee it.
Right. The last thing, should we have more than 2 or 3 video testimonials on homepage? I'm adding 2 of them. Rest of them are text testimonials. I'm saving video testimonials for case studies page. But what do you think should it be?
I'm a big fan of as many testimonials as possible.
Right. So can we repeat that on homepage? Like we have 10 in total. Can I, line all of them up on homepage and then repeat the same on case studies page and any
Yeah,
other page?
why not? Yeah, why not? I do it all the time.
Thanks, Mike. I took a lot of your time and it was, invaluable as always. Thank you
No,
very
no
much.
worries. I appreciate you hopping on. All right.
Hey, Maya, can you hear me?
Hey, how are you?
Hey, hi, good. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, so the context is that I'm working with an eczema client. So these 2 emails, they want to send it to their subscribers list for people who haven't bought their drops yet. So these are the 2 drafts that I came up with to send to their list.
Great. So these are people who are leads but not buyers.
They either opted into like their newsletter on their website, or yeah, for some reason like they opted in. I'm not sure how they got into the list, but they haven't bought the eczema drops yet.
Have they seen a lot of eczema sort of pitches before this?
Do you mean like from the same company or like from other brands?
From the same company. I'm just wondering, like, where is this person in this company's, ascension model or whatever it is? Like, have they purchased before? Have they been on the list for a year now and haven't purchased? Like, where are they?
I think they're more of the way they opted in is mostly through the website, like through the blog section. So they will have seen some kind of like value post, and then they want to like get more tips on how to treat their eczema. So that's
Great.
where they probably are in their ascension model.
Great. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Let me go ahead and read through this. So depending on how built out the sales page is,
I can see the link below. Do you need it in the chat? Yeah, that one. So it's more of like a e-com style kind of sales page.
great. And this mechanism that you describe as the emotional triggers, is it fulfilled anywhere here?
Yeah, the thing is, it appears more of like the bottom, like I think after this section. Yeah, this section, somewhere there. Yeah, here. So it talks about like stress and anxiety. Yeah.
Great. So, man, depending on how this page is sort of converting, I would literally stop.
Now it's about 3%. Yeah.
Great. I would probably stop literally right here.
Oh, so like don't reveal like it's the
Yeah, I mean, I would just be like, did you know that most eczema? I'm just gonna talk, but this is not copy, so don't use this word for word. But I would basically say like, hey Frank, did you know that most eczema creams, gels, and oils suck ass because they don't address this one type of flare-up trigger? It's a new flare-up trigger that recent research from so-and-so has uncovered to be the #1 cause of eczema products, of eczema rather, and most products don't attack it whatsoever. You see, they do help with this, but they don't help with this one crucial type of trigger that brings it all together. Click here now to see it and the solution.
Okay. I don't know what if like the discovery is like not recent. It's just that most products don't address it. Like they just focus on like the topical effects.
No, totally. So I would basically say that and then stop it right here with some sort of proof. Because you have somewhere here, you have the Mayo Clinic stuff. I guess you could use that and just say like, according to Mayo Clinic, there's something else far more disastrous than environmental factors. Click here now.
Okay, got it.
So that's an option.
Yeah, the angle I went with like more educational inside the email just to like qualify the click more.
No, totally. So I would run both.
Oh.
Right.
So when you say run both, that means like at one timing, I'll send like the shorter version, which is the more curiosity driven one. Then maybe like 12 hours later, send like the longer version. Is that what you mean?
No. So I would basically I would take 15% of the list, or maybe not 15. I would send, depending on how big the list is, right? So I would basically write a super short clicky one and send it to 10% of the list, right?
Okay.
Then I would send in a completely different 10% of the list this long email. And then whichever one wins, I would send that email to the remaining 80%.
Okay, got it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. The list is about 10K plus people, I think.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's something just to sort of test and try. This sales page is very e-commercey, but I mean, it is pretty built out, right? It's not just like a regular landing page. So it's possible that we just need to get more eyeballs on this page. And the quickest way to do that is just to get as many clicks as you can.
Okay.
Sorry, Mike, can I add something here? Just a quick tip. In
Yeah.
members area, there are some files. I think you'd have to find them where they have shown how you can merge direct response and e-commerce pages. So there are some wonderful examples that can help you. And if you can't find those few, I would send them over to you. I have stored them somewhere.
Do you mean like the videos that Stefan did? I think I watched 2 of the training videos already.
Yeah.
Or were you talking about like some email swipes for them?
I'm talking about the landing pages. Yeah, Stefan did that training, how you can merge, I think it was Stefan or Rob. I don't know who it was, but how you can merge direct response with ecom. And there are examples. I would send them over to you right after this chat.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Okay. Most welcome.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. So that's something I would sort of play around with some of the longer
But then
ones.
for the longer form, any like, feedback on the copy? Or like
Yeah, of course. Let me
the
get into this. So what I would have here then is, because you basically want to close off all the exits, because your goal here is to be like, most eczema creams suck, ours doesn't, right?
Yeah.
So you basically want something here, here rather. that basically says, did you know it does all this cool stuff? But if that were the case, all eczema creams would work. And the fact is, most of them are garbage because they don't address one type of crucial trigger. So somewhere in between here, you basically need to flat out say that if environmental factors and anti-inflammatory stuff were the end all be all, you'd have results by now. Like you wouldn't be reading this email.
Okay, got it. So at first we say that they do like, solve those things. But if those were really just the causes, then you have seen results now.
Well, yeah, the sentiment is just like, if those things were, this is not enough. That's what you're trying to say. Like none of these work because they don't actually go the full distance and tackle every single trigger. And this new one,
okay.
Emotional triggers. Basically, it has to be, it's not enough.
Okay, got it.
And then you have a ton of stuff that's about like the anxiety and stress of eczema, but I'd really like to have something about, the anxiety and stress of the world, which causes eczema. Right? You want to take away some of that shame of them having eczema and just be like, well, no wonder you have eczema and nothing works. We live in a topsy-turvy world. But it's only now, today, during the lockdowns, that we understand how this stress is affecting your eczema and how to fix it. Do you see how that takes the reader into today? Why there's a breakthrough now that they need to use?
Okay, got it. Now, but what has it got to do with being in lockdown? Like, is it because they are in lockdown, then they have like less stress, so they have less?
No, they have more stress. I mean, the world, everyone is super stressed right now. There's a pandemic ravaging our streets. So this Mayo Clinic stuff that they talk about, it's about just genuine stress, right?
Yeah.
It's not specifically stress about flare-ups. It's stress about anything. Maybe you have crazy kids tearing up the living room. Maybe you have a boss breathing down your neck. Maybe you put on a little bit more weight over the pandemic that you would have hoped. All this stuff adds up to you being anxious and stressful. So just basically bring me into why today this stress is out of control and why that sort of paved the way for a new breakthrough like this one.
Okay, got it.
And then you basically say, and the truth is, you say, and according to some of the top researchers at Mayo Clinic, there's a direct link between you being stressed and you having eczema.
Okay, got it.
Like bring in some proof. This is great. Yeah, so this stuff is awesome, right? And this is sort of what I was looking for a little bit up here.
Okay.
Yeah, this is great. And then I would have somewhere here that like, she created it for her daughter and then it's quickly becoming a household item that people are using. And then you basically just have all the testimonials.
You mean like put the testimonial into the email? Yeah,
why not?
Okay.
And I also think like you could just have an email centered around these. I mean, this is a crazy transformation.
As in to write like a story-based email.
No, I don't even think you need a story. I think you literally just go like, eczema got you down. Well, it happened to Lynn too, and now she's cured. Look here, now click here. Like with the skincare stuff, it's just demonstration. That's why before and after photos are so incredible for the anti-aging, anti-wrinkle market. Like, why tell me about something if you can just show me? So this is another email that I would play around with too.
Okay, got it.
And then, yeah, I agree with Jazz. I would have a juicier subject line as well. Something here that just lets me know that this is new, this just happened sort of occasion to it, right? Eczema breakthrough, rockets across the United States. Click here now to see it, or whatever. Not click here now, but you understand what I'm saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
more drama. The one eczema breakthrough your doctor doesn't even know about.
Okay. Then if I were to include like testimonials in the email, right, which part of the email should I add them in?
I would have it here as a proof point. Because basically you talk about Elizabeth making this thing and then you go buy it now.
Uh-huh.
But I would go, Elizabeth made this thing and it's transforming people's lives.
Got it. Okay.
Boom, boom, boom. And you don't have to have the photos if you don't want to, but man, this is so powerful. And I know because I used to struggle with eczema too.
Oh, okay. Then how did it like stop?
From eating a healthier diet, I've been doing a lot of like sort of emotional, deeper work, which has been super helpful, right? Which is what you're talking about here.
Okay.
But basically use the testimonials as proof for why this thing is so good.
Okay, got it. So for this email, I was playing with the idea of like putting the drops into a bath, because for some people with eczema, they say that it's good to take like a salt bath. And on the landing page, like on how to use the product, one of the ways to use it is to like add some drops to a bath and then soak yourself in it. So that's the idea behind this email.
Yeah, this is great. I wonder, I mean, do you even need any of this? Like, this is almost like throat clearing, right? I wonder if it's just like, hey, name, like if you have eczema, you've probably been told to take a bath. But the thing is, there's a very specific way you want to take a bath. And if you do it the wrong way, it could actually make it worse.
Okay. And then
what you want to
away,
do
yeah,
is you want to rely on natural, blah, 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 clinically studied ingredients that soothe itch from the inside out without using steroids or any other creams that just mask some of the problems. And that's where the eczema skincare premium relief oil comes in. All you have to do is add a few drops, do all this cool stuff, and then you're going to be so much better. In fact, that's why 10,000 people. Yeah, so this is great.
Got it. So I think like just make the hook much more like punchier at the start, and then like transition to like actually you want like a more natural solution, blah blah blah, and that's where like the eczema drops come in. Correct.
Yeah, just get into it right away. I don't need to. You could literally say this in 2 sentences, which is if you have eczema, you've probably tried taking a bath. But unless you do it correctly in the way I'm about to show you, studies show that certain baths can actually be making it worse. Like, I don't need to know all of this.
So this market, do you think like for yourself, do you think like you're like more skeptical? Because one of the things my clients is that they probably tried different eczema solutions really and haven't gotten any results. So that's why for the emails, right, I tend to like want to educate a bit more to like build some authority and show that we know what we're talking about.
No, because that doesn't really tell me why yours is different. Like, the skepticism doesn't come from a lack of education, right? This would be the equivalent of me writing a fat loss email and then being like, the reason why most people gain weight is because they eat too much. Like, that does nothing for me as a reader, right?
Okay.
So I think your intuition is right. And it's telling you, like, I need to find a way to sort of address their skepticism while still introducing a new and powerful solution. And I think you do that by going into it right away, which is, hey, you've probably tried all this other garbage. It hasn't worked. Introducing a new breakthrough that works unlike anything before it for XYZ reasons.
Okay, got it.
Like, you're not trying to educate. You're trying to soothe.
Okay, can.
Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, so like the main point you're saying is to address their skepticism by saying like how you are different and why this will work instead of like the other things they've tried.
Right, because here's the thing right here, you know, it's been 200 words and you haven't really told me anything that I don't know already.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you do decide to do this, that's totally fine, but you need something right away that basically says, hey, there's this new thing. See, right? So if you had a sentence here that was like, if you have eczema, then you probably try taking a bath. Well, thanks to a new breakthrough at the forefront of eczema research, we now have a new solution. See, you probably have dry skin, and that's because your skin barrier isn't working properly. You probably already know that. And you also know that that means your skin is unable to retain moisture properly. So it becomes dry and flaky. Do you see how you can still educate, but you need a topper of, hey, this is new?
Okay. I think it's probably because I'm not used to writing emails. Usually I write Facebook ads. So I like after your comment, I see that this like copy is like very Facebook compliant where I can actually like be more direct and aggressive.
Yeah, you can literally just be super aggressive. And it's not even aggressive. It's just, you know, Facebook tends to be boring. Like, you know what I mean? You can have a little bit of fun with it. You could use you could use direct claims.
Okay.
You know, so I would write this sort of balls to the wall and then reel back from there.
Okay, got it. So you were saying at this top liner part?
I'm sorry, say again?
You mentioned like adding some top liner part before this dry skin thing. Right? It's a UC or something.
Yeah, I would basically say something like, you know, if you have eczema, you've probably tried taking a bath and it made things worse. Well, and then I would say something like, well, thanks to a brand new breakthrough at the forefront of eczema science, we've finally figured out a way to blah, 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 or something. Just tell me something new right away.
Okay, got it.
Because this open loop here is going to make me read all the rest of this stuff to get to that answer.
Okay.
Like everything you write has to have, this is just a sort of larger sort of concept, but everything we write as copywriters needs to have an occasion. You need to tell me why you're mailing me today and why this is new.
Okay.
You know, financial copywriters intuitively grasp this, right? Every Agora promo starts with a date, right? Get in by March 14th, blah, 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 right? Thanks to a new executive order that President Trump signed, blah, 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 blah. There's always some occasion, there's some catalyst. And I think that health writers would benefit a lot from having that too. Because just saying that there was a breakthrough in eczema research that just happened, that recently happened, that makes me as an eczema sufferer so much more intrigued to read the rest, because this tells me that this is new and I'm mailing to you for a reason. There's a justification for the email.
Okay, and also to create urgency, I guess.
Yeah, and to create urgency, right?
Okay.
Because the last thing you want to do is send out an email that in theory you could have sent 3 weeks ago or 3 weeks in the future, and it would read the same.
Got it.
Hopefully that's helpful. But otherwise, I mean, these emails are awesome, man. I think if we just sort of get a little bit more aggressive and we basically bring in this mechanism and this newness and this differentiation a lot higher, that would be very helpful.
Okay, Ken, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Great work.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
All right. I think that's everyone. Did I miss anyone? Or is that?
I think there's like a few more people like Jazz and
Oh,
Tia.
Jazz, yeah. Did you post the link, man? Oh, you did. Sorry, man.
Yeah, no problem.
I see it. Sorry about that. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm great, man. I wanted to critique on the sales letter. This is actually one of my I was pretty frustrated with this one. I'm like having a hard time getting a good big idea and really getting some concepts down. So I wanted to see what you thought. This is it's a product that's in the works. What they want to do is test it on their list, and if it works well, then they want to promote something on cold traffic, because they're coming up with a lot of offers right now with the goal of getting one to work. So they're trying a bunch of different things right now. So this is for a product that teaches guys a how to stop running out of things to say. Like that's basically probably like the most common thing for sale in the dating industry. But I wanted to see what you thought about the lead, because it's something I'm still trying to figure out.
Yeah, totally, man. I mean, well, so is this sort of the headline that you're going to run with?
Yeah, that's an headline I came up with somebody else, but definitely open to changing it.
Yeah, I don't think changing it. I would add to it. I would further it, right? Because the thing is, you know, there's no real direct benefit here for the reader, right? And this is about you, the writer. So I almost wonder if it's like, why are guys way less attractive and successful, or successful getting more women than me? How a simple question sparked a relentless search that ended up in whatever, figuring out the secret to never running out of shit to say, blah, 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 blah. Like, don't be afraid to make headlines super long, if that makes sense.
Oh, it makes a lot of sense. That's I like that a lot.
Just give me something, right? And look, like, you know, if you were looking at a Jason Capital-esque type list, right? Because I know you're familiar with that, a headline like this would work because I care about JC. I want to be like JC. So anything he says about him, I'm super enthralled by. But unless that list that you're writing for has the same sort of gurudom around it, I just don't care as much. So it's important to sort of think about, cool, where are these readers at? What do I have to say in the headline to get them to read more? And the way we do that, I think, is with something like this, but in addition that says like, here's this question, but also here's the benefit to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That makes a lot of sense, especially considering if it works that they're going to tend to cold traffic. I mean, that what you just said is way better for someone who doesn't know this person. Even
so
though
that's just the first thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, even though his list is like really does look up to him in a similar way, but it would only work on the list if I sent it that way to Facebook, for example.
Yeah, and I'm even willing to bet it'll work better for the list if you had a subhead that had a curiosity sort of hook and benefit in there.
Yeah.
Right? Reading this does not compel me to read any further.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? So that's just something to sort of play with. Like, think about like, cool, man, like, can I add a pre-head here? Can I add some deck copy or a subhead here with a benefit, right? A cool pre-head would just be like, you know, if you've ever asked yourself the question below, blah, 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 dot, dot, dot. Why are guys way less attractive and successful getting more women than me? And then you have some sort of a subhead that it's very benefit rich, very direct to the point. Because you said it yourself, right? Like, what do these guys want? They want to never run out of things to say. So literally, dude, all you need is something, a benefit driven headline that says how to never run out of things to say with new mechanism. And you have this oscillation model. And I don't know what if the oscillation model is actually referring to a person who's a model or like a framework of thinking.
Framework of thinking. And they want to
right. Dude, how the OSM method the breakthrough OSM method that will guarantee you'll never have anything to run out of what to say or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a much stronger headline. How asking myself a simple question that every guy has at some point in his life led me to uncover the OSM method, to never running out of things to say to women, and now you can try it too.
That's a much better headline.
Right. And even then, dude, like that's a really shitty headline. But if you like think about it and like, just look at that framework, like what I said isn't perfect copy, right? But you can play around with it. You can move parts around. You can get a little bit creative. So I would recommend, and I'll read through the lead, of course, but just in terms of like big idea and hook and all that, like I would read through as much dating swipe as you can, and you'll notice a very common theme, which is it's literally, I don't know how this still works, dude. It's the same benefit, which is say these 3 things, or how to never run out of things to say, or how to always get swiped by every hot chick in your area. It's always the same benefit. The only thing that changes is a new method or a new mechanism.
Yeah.
So I would go with that proven framework here too, man.
Yeah, I really wanted to ask you too, because you have a lot of experience writing dating stuff. So,
but let me go ahead and read through this. Right, filter interested. So I probably, the key with these, I think, is you start off with the most dramatic point first. Yeah. So you could probably move this up here and start off with that quote. Yeah, other than that, this is great, man. This is awesome. The only thing I would sort of add here is like, I would love for some you language here. And the easiest way to do that is literally just like, then she left me there alone at the bar. Has that ever happened to you or sound familiar?
Yeah.
I had recently moved to NYC and had my own apartment, a 6-figure job, the success most guys would kill for. Everything that you and I are told is a recipe for endless options, which you have here, right? So you think girls would be all over me, right? But it was non-existent. And then you'd basically go, oh my gosh, must be familiar. Yeah, so these I would basically turn into you language, right? I couldn't run from my sobering thoughts. And if you've been there, then you probably also thought, how are guys way less successful and attractive than you getting more women than you?
Yeah.
It's not because you might be a certain race. It's not because you're too short. It's probably because girls just don't like you, right? Wrong. And I'm about to prove it to you. Like the key with these horror stories is like super dramatic horror, like horrible thing that happened to me, but don't worry, there's hope at the end of this. And then you go back into the shit and then you give them some more hope. It's this constant back and forth between it. And if you read some of Stefan's stuff, if you read other top guys, like that's what they basically do. It's this roller coaster of, you know, I was at my lowest point, but I'm grateful for it because look at all this hopeful stuff that came from it. Let's go back into the story. And then the only thing I would add here, dude, is just I ended up getting an introduction that would completely change my life. Little did I know it have me discover XYZ mechanism and the secret to never running out of things to say to women. And it's gone on to help thousands of men just who are in my exact same position. And now it's going to help you too. But before I tell you what happened, let me introduce myself.
That's some really good stuff, man.
So overarching comments, man, like this is great writing. This is awesome. I would just sort of add as many benefits as we can with some sort of differentiated mechanism.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Those are so scrap, we talked about a lot here, but if there's anything I want you to sort of focus on is where can I add benefits and how can I make this seem like this is new, never before seen?
Yeah. Really feature the mechanism, because the promise is the same, but the way you stand out is by having new mechanisms they haven't heard before.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good way of putting it.
Got it. Super helpful, man. Any other comments?
No, I think it's great, man. I'm excited to see what you come up with. Good work.
All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. You still got to send me your bicep routine, by the way, dude. I have not forgotten. So we will talk about this offline. Because I've been doing a ton of home workouts and I gotta get. I'm excited to get back into the gym, but in the meantime, I gotta get some calisthenics going.
I got you, man. We can talk about
Thanks,
that.
man. I appreciate it. All right, now I think that's everyone. Yeah, I appreciate your time, guys. I will talk to everyone soon.